The Smiths are celebrating their youngest son Carl's birthday today. The day Carl was born, Anne, one of Carl's sisters, was only 1/3 as old as she is today. The day Carl was born, Beth, one of Carl's sisters as well, was only 1/4 as old as she is today. If Anne is 2 years older than Beth, how old is Carl? We're going to solve this problem algebraically. We're going to define our variables. We're going to choose to define Beth's age as x. So if Beth is x years old today, then if Anne is 2 years older, Anne must be x plus 2 years old. This is Beth's age, this is Anne's age. Now I could have chosen the unknown to be Carl's age, but I won't because I find this easier. So let's see what we mean by these lines. How do we interpret these lines, or how do we translate these lines into algebraic relationships? Okay, going back to this line. Alright, this is Anne's lifespan. This T stands for today, A stands for the day Anne was born. And the question says Anne was 1/3 of her age, current age, when Carl was born. C stands for the day Carl was born. So I took Anne's entire lifespan, cut into 3 parts, 1/3, 1/3, and 1/3. And that kind of makes sense, because what we're trying to say is that the day Carl was born, Anne was 1/3 of her current age, and that's exactly what the picture tells me. And I know today from our previous slide that Anne is x plus 2 years old. So today Carl must be 2/3 of that. This is Carl's age today. All this plus all this. So I'm saying then Carl is 2/3 times x plus 2, because we're claiming this whole thing is x plus 2. This whole thing is x plus 2. So Carl must be 2/3 of x plus 2, or 2/3 times x plus 2. So we're going to move on and work on the next line. Okay, let's interpret the second statement. The day Carl was born, Beth, one of Carl's other sisters, was only 1/4 as old as she is today. Okay, so this is Beth's lifespan. Beth was born today, Carl was born. And we're talking about 1/4, so I'm going to take Beth's entire lifespan, cut into fourths. One-fourth, 1/4, 1/4, 1/4. Now this whole thing, we know Beth is x years old today, so this whole thing is x. This whole thing is x. Beth was 1/4 of x when Carl was born, so Carl must be 3/4 of Beth's current age. That's where this is coming from. 3/4 times x if Beth was x. Again, you really want to read the question that the statement that I've underlined and understand it. And if you have to draw a picture, that's fine. But you want to make sure you understand it. The catch with this problem is you don't put some of these numbers in your equation. 1/4, 1/3. Instead, you are more likely to see 3/4, 2/3. That's what makes this problem so difficult. So let's move forward. Now we are ready to write our equation. Now, from the two previous slides, we got that Carl is 3/4 of x years old today and 2/3 of x plus 2 years old today. Now, if both expressions represent Carl's age today, they must equal each other. Well, if they do, we set them up as two equal quantities and we solve for x. Let's solve for x. Now, I have the first three steps right here. 2/3 of x plus 2 means 2 times x plus 2 divided by 3. 3/4 of x means 3 times x divided by 4. I distribute 2 over x plus 2. I get 2x plus 4. And you can skip some of those steps if you want. I'm going to move to the next slide, and the next slide will show you the next step to this part. Okay, so from that little equation, form of the equation that I circled, cross multiplied. So I get 4 times 2x plus 4, 3 times 3x. I distribute 4 over 2x plus 4. I get 8x plus 16, and I multiply 3 by 3. That's 9x. I subtract 8x from both sides. I get x here and 16, so x is 16. Now I need to find Carl's age today. I found x to be 16, and that was Beth's age. So let's see what we can do. So remember, if we said Beth was x years old, Carl must be 3/4 of x. Well, if x is 16, I replace x with 16, I get 12 years old. Carl has to be 12 years old. Now what we're going to do, that's our answer. Now we're going to do a little analysis of our answer. Is this reasonable? Does this make sense? Well, let's quickly look at it. Let's write down some of the facts and test. I will do it right here. So we're claiming, I'm going to first write Carl's age. Carl is 12 years. Beth, today, Beth is 16 years today. And Anne is 2 years older, so Anne better be 18. Now let's see. Oops, I better write years here. Okay. Now, let's see if the question makes sense. Now, if Carl is 12 years ago, 12 years ago, Beth was 4 years. 12 years ago, Beth was 4 years. Okay. And 12 years ago, Anne was 18 minus 12, or 6 years. So 12 years ago, Beth was 6 years old, and 12 years ago, Beth was 4 years old, and 12 years ago, Anne was 6 years old. And was Beth 1/4 of her current age? Yes. Was Anne 1/3 of her current age? Yes. And is Anne 2 years older than Beth? Yes. So all these three statements hold for my answer. So I must be correct.